Today I'm going to end once and for all the debate on whether Ubuntu and Rocky Linux are that different after all. I'm going to create those two VMs on GCP and I'm going to perform a bunch of benchmark tests in between them and let's see how they react to them. I'm going to try to spike the CPU, the RAM, and let's see how they react. A lot of people say that Ubuntu is better, a lot of people say that Rocky Linux is better, and today I'm going to put them to the test. I'm going to create and configure my whole infrastructure using Ansible. I'm going to start by creating my create_infra.yaml. I'm going to give a name to my job. I'm going to specify my variables. Both machines are going to be E2 medium. The only difference is that one's going to be an Ubuntu machine and the second one's going to be a Rocky Linux machine. And to control them using Ansible, I'm going to use the SSH key that I generated. My first task is going to be to create my VPC network. And I'm going to create my firewall rules. I need port 22 to SSH into the machines, 80 to access the HTTP graphs, 3000, 9090, and 9100 are necessary for Prometheus and Grafana. I know this is very permissive, but this is a lab. Then I'm going to create the first contestant of tonight, a Ubuntu machine that's going to be an E2 medium. And then the second contestant of tonight, a Rocky Linux machine that's going to be of the same type. Both of those machines are going to be monitored by my monitoring VM. Now I'm going to run this playbook and see how it goes. I ran Ansible playbook and the name of my playbook, and as you can see, all of my tasks one by one were being performed and I had no failed, no errors in the end. Everything worked. Created the machines, everything worked. So back to VS Code, and I'm going to create the inventory.ini file. And I'm going to paste the external IPs of my machines, and I'm going to specify that the Ansible user is going to be my regular GCP user. My machines have been created, but there's nothing in them essentially. So I'm going to create another playbook where I'm going to configure them to export monitoring to Prometheus and Grafana. I'm going to specify the Linux servers from the inventory.ini and become yes so that I can become root while performing the tasks. The first task is going to be to install the packages on Ubuntu, and then I'm going to install the same packages on Rocky Linux. Start Nginx on both machines. I'm going to create a node exporter user. I'm going to download and export the node exporter, and then I'm going to install it. I'm going to create my node exporter service, and then I'm going to reload it. After all that, I'm going to start my node exporter. Now I'm going to configure my monitoring VM, and I'm going to specify the variables for my Ubuntu IP and the Rocky Linux IP. I'm going to need to install Prometheus and a few other tools on my monitoring machine. Then I'm going to add a Grafana GPG key and add a Grafana repository. And after updating my cache, install Grafana. I'm going to configure my Prometheus targets. My targets are going to be my Ubuntu machine and my Rocky Linux machine. Restart Prometheus and start my Grafana. After running my playbook, I can see that my tasks are run one by one with no errors, no exceptions, no weird messages, and at the very end, I see that I have 0 failed on my 3 machines, and that's awesome. That's what we need. So now let's open our Grafana back to Google Cloud Console. I'm going to get the IP of my monitoring VM, and I'm going to visit it on port 3000. Logging with the default credentials, admin. I'm in. On the left side, I'm going to click on connections, data sources, add data source, Prometheus. Prometheus URL is going to be localhost 9090. Scroll to the bottom of the page, save and test. Now I'm going to click on dashboards, new, import. The ID is going to be 1860, load, and then import. I can already see some interesting metrics. I can see CPU busy, sysload, RAM used, and I'm on my Rocky VM. I have absolutely nothing going on, and I'm using 13% of its RAM. What if I change to Ubuntu? And it's using slightly less RAM. And the CPU is virtually the same.